Sometimes people think of strength and flexibility as two ends of a continuum. So if I were to become stronger, I automatically am going to become less flexible. Or if I become more flexible, I'm automatically going to become weaker. But that's not the way strength and flexibility work. They're not opposites, and one doesn't pull from the other. They're partners that work together to help your body move in a functional way. And what is the best for your body is to work both. Oftentimes, I like to work both together in my classes and have them work as partners in class. But sometimes I also like to have a more focused class on one, strength, or the other, flexibility. And that's what we have today. We have a very focused strength class. And one of the best ways to build strength is through the use of resistance. So today I'm going to be using a resistance band. I'm using a thick fabric resistance band, often known as a booty band, but one of those latex bands would also work. They do tend to roll a little bit more, but certainly would work for our purposes today. And depending where you are in your strength journey, you may choose to use a resistance band like I am. You may choose to use no resistance. Certainly body weight only will work for class today. Or you may choose to go beyond the resistance band and add additional load through the use of a weight like a kettlebell or a dumbbell. So depending what props you're using today, if you're using a resistance band, place it at the top of your mat. And if you're using a weight, place it near the back of your mat. That way, they'll be right where we need them when we need them. We are going to start our class today standing at the front of our mat. Place your feet hip distance apart and parallel. Find a straight line from your ankle, hip, shoulder, all the way up through the middle of your ear. You'll likely need to draw your chin back in towards your face slightly to lengthen out the back of your neck and get it in line with the rest of your spine. Press down firmly through all four corners of your feet, hands by your sides, palms facing forward, Tadasana. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, soft bend to your knees, Uttanasana, forward fold. Since this is our first forward fold, I invite you to keep your knees nice and soft. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back and lower all the way to the mat. Untuck your toes, tuck your tailbone, roll your shoulders down your back, and inhale up to baby cobra. Exhale, lower, push back through tabletop to downward facing dog. Bend your knees, draw your hips and your tailbone up and back, lengthen out through your torso. Straighten your legs a little bit as much as it's comfortable and draw your heels straight back towards the ground. Press down firmly through the knuckles at the base of your fingers. Wrap your elbows, your triceps underneath you towards your ears. And make sure again that your neck is in line with your spine. Bend your knees, look forward, and slowly walk your feet between your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. Exhale, arms by your side. Inhale, bend your knees, arms overhead, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back. Knees can be up or down. Lower halfway down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot by your right hand. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart and turn your left toes out 45 degrees. Bend into your right knee and rise up to warrior one. Draw your right hip back, your left hip forward. Sit down into your warrior and lift up out of your hips. Plant your hands. Step back, knees up or down, lower halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot by your left hand. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart. Turn your right toes out 45 degrees. Bend your left knee. Rise up, Virabhadrasana 1. Left hip back, right hip forward. Sit down into your warrior one. Rise up out of your hips. Exhale, hands down. Step back, knees up or down, lower halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths in this downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward, and walk your feet between your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend your knees, revisit chair pose. And exhale, stand tall, arms by your side, Tadasana. If you're using a resistance band today, go ahead, grab the band and put it on. You want it right around the meaty part of your thighs, so not just above your knees and not all the way up directly under your butt, but right around the middle of your thighs. Then, once again standing, feet hip distance apart, parallel. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back to tabletop. Knees under hips, wrists under shoulders, toes tucked. Find a nice neutral spine. Draw your low ribs in and down. Draw the tips of your shoulder blades towards each other. Draw your chin in towards your face. Lengthen out the back of your neck. Get it in line with the rest of your spine. Hold all of this engagement. Keep this nice neutral line. Keep everything as it is and just lift your right heel up towards the sky. Pause. And now let's do 5 little pulses. Move only using your glute. Do not sway through your lower back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lower your knee back down and then turn your shin out towards the right. Fire hydrant pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lower your right knee all the way down. Find your neutral spine if you lost it. Low ribs in and down, shoulder blades towards each other, neck in line. Keep all of this engagement and just lift your left heel towards the sky. Using only your glutes, no swaying through the low back. 5 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lower your left knee down. Point your left shin out to the side. fire hydrant pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lower your left knee all the way down. Make sure your toes are tucked underneath. Walk your hands back and sit up on your knees. Find a straight line from your knees all the way up through your torso, through the middle of your ear. Place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Keep that nice straight line as you hinge back from your knees. Go only as far back as you can, keeping that straight line. And then exhale, lift back up, reverse Nordics. Inhale, lower back. Exhale, sit up. You're going to feel this in your quads. Inhale, back. Exhale, up. Inhale, back. Exhale, up. Last one. Inhale, back. And exhale, up. Then find your way to standing at the back of your mat. If you're going to use a weight, now is the time to find it. We're just going to hold it straight down underneath us. We're going to do a combination squat hip hinge. So as a reminder, as we squat, our hips go down, our knees bend deeply. Our torso stays nice and straight, but it will be at a bit of an angle. Then when we hip hinge, our hips go back. Our knees bend, but only slightly. They just stay soft. And our torso, again, nice and straight, but it comes parallel to the mat. You have the option of feet hip distance apart and facing forward, or slightly wider than hip distance apart. Toes pointed just a little bit out, whichever you find most comfortable. Make sure your shoulders are down and back. Don't let them hunch forward. Inhale, sit down nice and deeply into your squat. Drive your knees out against the resistance band if you're using it. Exhale, stand tall, squeeze your glutes at the top. Inhale, hinge your hips back, your chest forward, parallel to your mat. Exhale, stand tall. Again, squeeze your glutes at the top. Let's repeat that. Inhale, squat nice and low, hips down, knees driving apart. Exhale, stand tall. Inhale, hips back, torso parallel to the mat. Exhale, stand tall. One more. Inhale, squat nice and low. Exhale, stand tall. Inhale, hinge forward. Exhale, stand tall. Go ahead, set your weight down for now. Walk your hands towards the front of your mat and find high plank pose. Draw your low ribs in and down, the tips of your shoulder blades towards each other. Lower halfway down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Continue to push through the knuckles at the base of your fingers to keep your hips moving back as you lift your right leg up for a 3-leg downward facing dog. Keep your hips nice and even. Don't open your torso up to the side. 5 little pulses of our right leg using just our glute to move our leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lower your right leg back down and switch sides. Left leg up to your 3-leg downward facing dog. 5 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And lower your left foot back down. Walk your hands back towards your feet and come back up to standing. Turn to face the long edge of your mat, and if you're using your weight, go ahead, hold it up by your chest. Again, make sure the weight doesn't draw your shoulders forward, but instead draw them back and down. Place your feet hip distance apart and parallel, and sit down into a squat. Drive your knees apart against the resistance band. Stay nice and low and begin to walk towards the other side of your mat. So step together, step together, step together, step together. Now back to the other side. Move nice and slowly. Don't bounce up and down. Stay in your squat. Maintain the time under tension. Now let's just go back to the middle of our mats. Go ahead, stand up. And now step your feet a little wider than hip distance apart. Turn your toes out a little bit for a sumo squat stance. Sit down into your squat, knees driving apart, back long. Pulses, 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Go ahead, place your weight down. Lift your hips towards the sky, turn your heels out slightly, and find a forward fold. It's not really a wide leg forward fold because of the resistance band, but it's as wide as we can get right now. Just breathe in your fold. Find a little rest, a little space. Inhale, halfway lift. Bend your knees. Find your weight. Bring it back up towards your chest and stand tall. Bend into your right knee. Step your left leg behind like you're curtsying. A little curtsy lunge, left knee almost to the ground. Stand tall. Step your left leg to the side. Bend into your left knee. Step your right leg behind. Curtsy lunge. Again on the right. Keep your torso nice and tall. And on the left. One more time, each side. Right. And left. Then place your weight back down, this time near the front of your mat. Turn to face the front of your mat. Front leg points forward, back leg points at 45 degrees. Turn your hips so they're parallel to the front of your mat. Hinge from the hips like we did in our hip hinges just a little bit ago. And find your torso parallel to the mat. You can stay here or you can fold deeper. Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. Front hip back, right hip forward. Be careful not to hyperextend through your front knee. And then walk your hands along the side of your mat to turn to face the back of your mat. Position your feet hip distance apart. Front toes point forward, left toes 45 degrees. Hips are now square to the back of your mat. And do pyramid on this side. Again, front hip back, back hip forward. And just breathe. Find space. Plant your hands and step your feet back to plank. Draw your low ribs in and down, the tips of your shoulder blades towards each other, and lower halfway down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Keep your hips moving back as you lift your right leg up, 3-leg downward facing dog. Hips even, no opening to the side. 5 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lower your right leg and lift your left leg up. 5 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Lower your left leg. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Come to standing. And turn to face the same side of the mat you were facing before. If you're using a weight, it should be right there waiting for you. Go ahead, hold it by your chest. Feet hip distance apart, toes facing forward. Sit down into a nice low squat. Drive your knees apart against the resistance band. Keep your shoulders back and down. Stay in your squat and slowly start walking over to the other side of your mat. Nice and slow, and stay nice and low. Breathe. Slow, controlled breaths. And now just find yourself at the middle of your mat. Go ahead and stand tall. Separate your feet for our sumo squat pulses. A little wider than hip distance. Toes slightly turned out. Again, shoulders back and down. Sit down nice and low into your squat. 10 pulses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Go ahead, place the weight down. Lift your hips up to fold. Heels go out slightly. And find a semi-wide leg forward fold. Again, just breathe. Find space. Find release. Inhale, halfway lift. Bend your knees. Take your weight. Hold it back up by your chest. Stand tall. Bend into your left knee. Curtsy lunge on your left. Torso nice and upright. Step over onto your right leg and curtsy lunge to the right. Again, left. And right. Final on each side, left. Inhale on the way down. Exhale as you stand tall. And right. Inhale down. Exhale, stand tall. Place your weight back down near the front of your mat. Turn and face the back of your mat and find your pyramid again. Front foot facing forward, left foot 45 degrees. Hips parallel to the back of the mat. Hinge from the hips. Find your torso parallel to the mat. Stay here or place your hands down and fold deeper into your pyramid. If you're folding, make sure you are finding length and space also through your torso and not rounding through your back. Walk your hands along the side of your mat towards the front of your mat. And find your pyramid now on this side. Front hip back, back hip forward. Breathe into all of the space you're finding. Plant your hands, step your feet back to high plank. Low ribs in and down, tips of the shoulder blades towards each other. Exhale, lower halfway down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward. Walk your feet towards your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Long flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand tall, arms overhead. Exhale, arms by your side, Tadasana. Moving on to single leg supported hip hinges. You can use a weight or not. The weight, like in our squat hip hinge combo, will be down, not up by your chest. Put your weight into your right foot and step your left toes back just a little bit behind you to create like a little bit of a kickstand support. Keep your right knee soft, hinge from your hips. Hips go back, torso long, parallel to the mat. Then exhale, stand tall. Repeat. Inhale, hips back, torso parallel. Weight will just go straight up and down by your shin. Exhale, stand tall. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. Step your left foot back by your right. Weight into your left foot. Right foot back on your toes slightly for a little bit of a kickstand. Make sure your shoulders are back and down. Inhale, hinge, hips back, torso forward, weight in front of your left shin. Exhale, stand tall. Inhale, hips back, chest forward. And exhale. Inhale. Nice, slow, controlled movements. Exhale. Inhale. It's important when we're strength training that we're using our muscles and not momentum. And exhale. Final one. Inhale. And exhale. Step your right foot back by your left. If you're using a weight, bring it back up by your chest. Reverse lunge to a leg extension. Weight into your right foot. Step your left foot back, not super far back, but step it back into a lunge. Lower your left knee towards the mat, torso nice and tall and upright. Exhale to stand tall. Shift your weight into your right foot, torso at a diagonal, and just lift your left leg slightly. Use your glutes, not your back. Then step your left toes back down and lunge again. Exhale, stand tall, shift your weight forward. Extend your left leg. Left toes down. Lunge. Exhale, stand tall, shift your weight forward. Extend your left leg. Down and up and extend. Last one. Down and up and extend. Then bring your left foot by your right. And let's do the other side. Weight into your left foot. Step your right foot back, right toes down. Bend into your right knee, torso nice and tall. Exhale, stand tall, shift your weight into your left foot and extend your right leg with your glutes. Right toes back down. Lunge. Stand up. Shift your weight forward. Extend your right leg. Toes down. Lunge. Weight into your left leg. Extend the right. Down. Up. Extend. Last one. Down. Up. And extend. Bring your right foot by your left. Go ahead, set your weight down for just a moment. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Bend your knees, sit down onto your heels, and find your way onto your butt. You can carefully use your hands to help you. We're going to do some glute bridges. So if you want your weight, you should bring it with you as you lie down onto your back. Glute bridges are similar to our bridge in yoga. The primary difference is that it's not a back bend. We will have, instead of an arch, a straight line from our knees to our shoulders. Feet should be flat on the ground, hip distance apart. Don't bring them as close to your sit bones, though, as you would for our yoga bridge. Make sure that your knees are tracking in line with your hips. If you're using a weight, it will rest between your hips. Nice big inhale. Exhale, push into your heels, lift your hips up, squeeze your glutes at the top, find your nice diagonal line. And then slowly lower back down. Exhale, back up. And inhale, lower. Exhale, up. Make sure you're using your glutes and your hamstrings. Exhale, inhale, lower. Exhale, up. Inhale, lower. Last one. Exhale, up. And inhale, lower. Now we're going to do the exact same thing, only with one leg. Single leg glute bridge. Keep your right foot where it is. Stretch your left leg long at about 45 degrees. Nice big inhale. Exhale, press into your right heel. Lift your hips. And inhale, lower. Exhale, up. And inhale, down. Exhale, up. Inhale, down. Exhale, up. Inhale, down. Final one. Exhale. And inhale all the way down. Switch sides. Left foot flat. Right leg long, 45 degrees. Nice big inhale. Exhale, push into your left heel and up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, up. Squeeze your glutes. Inhale, lower. Exhale, up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, up. Inhale, back down. Final one. Exhale, up. And inhale, all the way down. Place your right foot back down. Take your weight, carefully set it off to the side somewhere. We're done with it. And take off your resistance band. We are also done with that. Then however you want, just find your way back up to standing at the front of your mat. Feet hip distance apart and parallel. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, long flat back. Exhale, step your left foot back, lower your left knee down, and find your way into low lunge. Arms by your ears, tuck your tailbone under. Feel the length through the front of your left leg, your hip flexors, and your quad. Keep that length, keep your tailbone slightly tucked under as you lower down deeper into your lunge. Continue to also lift up and out of your hips in your low lunge. Find length through the front of your leg, not compression in your low back. Pull your hips towards each other, forward to back and side to side. Bring your arms down, place them on your right thigh for now. Bend your left knee, bring your foot towards your butt. Make sure you're resting not right up on your kneecap, but more on the thigh just above the knee. Then reach back with your left hand, find your foot, you can look forward if you need to, and gently draw your foot even closer in towards your butt. Feel that nice stretch through the front of your left leg. Carefully release. Don't slingshot your left foot back. Place both hands down. Step your right foot back to meet your left. Lower halfway down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot by your left hand. Lower your right knee down and find low lunge. Arms by your ears, tailbone tucked under, length through the front of your right thigh as you lower down into your lunge. Keep that length, keep the tuck of your tailbone, continue to lift up out of your hips. Find length and space, not compression. Draw your hips, your legs towards each other, front to back and side to side. And breathe into the space you're finding in the front of your right leg and through both sides of your waist. Lower your hands down, rest them on your left thigh. Bend your right knee. Again, make sure not to rest right on your kneecap, but on your quad just above your knee. Then reach back for your right foot. Again, you can look for it if you need to. And gently draw your foot towards your butt. Try and keep your hips and your chest square to the front of the mat. Try and keep your chest lifting. Don't sink, don't drop into your low back. Focus all of the goodness into the front of your right leg. Then carefully release, no slingshotting. Hands down. Step your left foot back to meet your right. Final vinyasa. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward, and step or hop through to seated. Bring your legs out in front of you and slowly roll down onto your back. Bring both knees up so your knees are over your hips, your shins are parallel to the mat. Open your arms to a T and slowly lower your knees down to the left. Just a gentle reclined twist. Slowly bring your knees back to center and then lower them all the way over to the right. Knees back to center. Point the soles of your feet up to the sky. Hold on around your shins, your ankles, your big toes, or the outside of your feet. Draw your sacrum, the flat part of your spine just above your tailbone, down onto the mat. Draw your knees down on either side of your torso. Happy baby. And you do whatever you need to make your baby happy. Maybe that's swaying from side to side. Maybe that's alternating, extending one leg at a time. Whatever you need for the next few breaths. Then slowly and carefully release your legs down to the edges of your mat. Hands by your side, palms facing up, shoulders resting comfortably underneath you. Release the tongue from the roof of your mouth. Release the clenching of your jaw and the pursing of your lips. Let go of the gripping of your fingers. And let all the tension from your shoulders wash away. Let your toes fall open to the sides. Notice any thoughts, any worries, any anxieties that might be lingering. Recognize them and then let them just melt away. Deep breaths. Relax. Eyes closed. Let your body just take over your natural automatic breathing. As you melt into the mat. I invite you to stay here for as long as you want, for as long as you're able. If you're ready to move on with me, begin to bring some life back into your fingers and your toes. Stretch your legs long, stretch your arms long, big inhale. Exhale, roll over onto one side. And carefully find your way up into a comfortable seated position. Place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Notice your breath. Notice your heartbeat. Thank you for practicing with me today.